into a lab today to help us understand geoscience data. Do you guys know what geology is?
Yeah. Geography.
What's geography?
They study the earth.
They study the earth, right? So geography, which is what Duke was talking about, they study like maps, where things are, right? And geology is the study of like the actual rocks and the dirt and the ground. Does that make sense? So can you guys please stop? It's disruptive. We are going to be studying geoscience data. So we're going to be learning about how do scientists look at dirt and rocks and ice and pollen and things they find on the ground and learn about the past climate, okay? Because they do. Were people around for the whole history of the earth?
No.
No. Like back when the dinosaurs were around, how do we know what the climate was like then?
It was cold because of the ice age.
It was hot. What are you talking about?
It was hot, but how do we know that? Is there like Barney standing up being like, excuse me, it was hot back then?
Like they study like the plants
No.
back then.
So maybe we get clues from fossils. That's geoscience data. What else?
Geofuels. Dinosaur fuels, fossil fuels.
So maybe we're looking at the fuels left behind by the fossils to figure out about the climate. But the point is, we need to learn about what did the climate used to be. Does anyone know why we care what the climate used to be?
Because of the climate changes, because it could like hurt the world.
Yeah, so Zach and Michelle are telling us that climate change is a big important thing that we're studying. Scientists are trying to learn more about it. Climate change has a big impact on our lives. We don't have a very good way of predicting climate change in the future if we don't understand how our climate has changed in the past. So we need to study what the climate was in the past so we can get good at learning like, oh, that's why it was cold then. Oh, that's what happened. That's why it was hot then. And when we understand the patterns of the past, then we can understand and predict better what's going to happen in the future. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So what we're going to be learning, the what we're going to be learning is how do we use pollen, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute, to learn about past climate. Why are we going to be learning about that, and how are we going to be learning about that? I want you to take a second right now and write this down. What are we learning? Why are we learning it? And how are we learning it? You keep filming. You're actually going to hand it to me. See. What are we learning? How are we learning it? And why are we learning it? Make your best guess right now. We'll go over it in a second. You have 30 more seconds. Eric, it really helps if you get out a pencil and a piece of paper.
What we are.
Jason, you need to hand him back his notebook. And then you need to stand up and bring your chair over here. Okay, Harmon, please share with us, what are we learning about today? Okay, we're going to be learning about climate change. Oscar, what did you say we were going to be learning about? What are we learning about? Climate change and how it affects us. Nathan, what did you say the what was? What are we learning about today? How pollen affects the climate. So climate change and how it affects us. And I'm going to add how pollen tells us about that. Okay, change, how it affects us, and how pollen tells us about that. Why are we learning about this? Marie, what did you say for why?
So that we can tell how the climate was in the past and how it will be predicted in the future.
So we can tell what the climate was in the past and how we can predict it in the future. Harmon, will you please tell us what Marie just said and what I repeated? Can you please join us in meeting space instead of sitting in the back and chit-chatting with your friend? So Marie told us we want to know about it. Why? Because we want to understand the climate in the past so we can predict the climate in the future. And the how. So how are we going to learn more about pollen and climate today? Any guesses?
We're gonna look at phone.
Fossil.
Wait, what did you say?
So are we gonna look at phone?
You're going to look at fake pollen because I don't want anyone's allergies going crazy today.
Achoo!
So you're going to be looking at a model of how they analyze pollen. And we're going to do it, how? By doing a pollen lab, okay? So the how is we're going to do a pollen lab. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. Zach, you can stop filming.